All right, let's get this over with.
Wait, isn't that my line?
I don't think so. My script had me being all depressed, and then...
No. I'm depressed, and then you comfort me by saying, well, you don't know what will happen.
No, you've got them switched. You comfort me, and then I say, well, I already know what's gonna happen.
No, I say what will happen. Embarrassing defensive turnovers,
Poor goaltending,
ridiculous fast break decision making.
backbreaking shorthanded goal against.
I don't have my script, and we can't both be right.
Well, I guess we just gotta watch the game then, huh? 3 hours later. Huh. Somehow, we were both right.
That is not a good sign.
No, it isn't. Low quality fans of a high quality Bruins team, that is a dub! Feels good to say that again. Feels like I haven't said it in a very long time, which I haven't. Guys, we did, we won a game! The winning was done! We did the thing with the wins! I feel good! Is there a lot about this game that still makes me very concerned? Yeah, absolutely. But that third period was dope. The hilarity of the final goal is, just classic Zadorov, I would say. That's just classic Zadorov. There's a lot of words for this game. It's a really interesting game. And it's really, really nice walking away from this game feeling good, right? I'm not really doing game notes right now as much as I'm doing like individual notes about each player, where it's more about, all right, did this guy advance his opportunities or did he hurt his opportunities? So I'm not doing like the overarching game notes that I typically do during the season. But what I will say early on, one of the most important things from this preseason, in my opinion, is not only the getting used to Sturm's system and all that kind of stuff, but walking away with confidence in your game. And that's for the players. They need to be walking out of these games going, yes, this is how I want to start the season. I feel good. Confidence leads to less hesitation with their decision making, which means faster hockey, which means more effective hockey. Confidence is important. That is the stage the Bruins are in right now. That's okay. Not every team walks into the preseason going, we got to build our confidence or else we're really going to struggle early on. Some of them are just, hey, we're very talented. We know what we are. We're good. The Bruins don't know what they are yet. They truly don't. And many of us have ideas about what they are, some negative, some positive. But the players themselves want to believe they have a winning roster. Why wouldn't they, right? That's the point, is to win. They know what people are saying about them. They know what people are saying about their chances. If they can build some confidence, particularly a couple of these younger guys that we're going to talk about, it is going to advance their game tremendously. I genuinely believe that. So walking out, I don't care how gross the win was, that third period, that overtime was so good that there's no way the majority of those guys are walking in that locker room bummed out. I think a couple of them are frustrated, but the team around them is happy for the win. They'll be happy for the win. Just makes a difference in my book. So let's talk about the lines, that I want to make 2 quick points before we talk about the game. The lines are Lashmelis, Mittelstadt, Blumel, a very interesting line for a lot of reasons. Huznadinov, Patra, Steves, Asamont, Minton, Lysell, Beecher, Farinacci, Kostelic, and then Zadorov, Jokiharju, Callahan, Soderstrom, Harris, Aspirant, Korpisalo, DiPietro. DiPietro would not see any time in this game, so it was Korpisalo's net. 2 quick things. Of course, we're going to do the reminder that it's the preseason and put an asterisk on everything that I'm about to say. There were a few comments from people that I just kind of want to do that, like, there is a blanket asterisk of, like, there's no reason to think that this is what these players are right now. Like, there's still a lot going on. There's a lot of variables to it. So just, I'm going to talk negatively about a couple performances. It's not the end of the world for those players. But I don't think I said something last game that I do want to say. One of the things about learning a new system from a new head coach, a new assistant coach, new power play system, things of that nature, our players are looking for a certain thing to happen. It's not just an instinctual chemistry, I know where this guy's going to be kind of thing yet. They are thinking it through. What that leads to, and when I harp on a player like Beecher or Yoki Haru or Kuznetsov, whomever, for holding the puck too long and being indecisive, it's possible that those players are looking for things that didn't manifest that were supposed to, or they made a wrong decision mixing up the system. So I just want to kind of put out there, I'm going to talk about some of these guys and the way they're handling the puck and the pauses they're making, the hesitation, and hesitation is death. That's kind of the way the world works, honestly. There's a blanket excuse there as well. I understand that. We still have to talk about it. The other thing I want to say before we moved on is I'm not trying to be a slave to the box score. I don't. You'll see what I mean when I talk about some of the player performances. Just because a player had an assist or even a goal doesn't necessarily mean they had a great game. We go through this every year with every game. I'll talk about players that have had good box scores but bad games, and usually I get torched for it. But there's just a difference. Sometimes a puck bounce goes your way and all of a sudden you have a goal, but it was a bad game for you. I mean, you take it. You're not going to turn the goal away, but that is something that happens sometimes. So I'm just trying not to overemphasize box scores, and particularly in the preseason right now, because we're going to talk about individual performances. That's the point. But let's go through this game really quick, which had a lot in it, so I'm going to try to go kind of quick so this isn't a 40-minute video. Puck drops. Puck drops! Like, comment, subscribe. Nailed it. 11:30 left of the first period. A fantastic shift. The best shift, I'd probably say, by the top line of Lashmelis, Middlestat, and Blumel. Lashmelis and Blumel worked together to make this kind of happen, particularly keeping the play alive for a couple instances where it was very likely the play was going to go the other way, but a dogged forecheck. From the whole team, honestly, I would say the team as a whole did a lot of strong forechecking in this game, particularly late in the game, of course, as that comeback started to come around. But they keep the play below the goal line. They're putting a lot of pressure on the players. Eventually, this is going to go from Lashmelis. He's going to bump it over to Blumel, who's going to work a backwards diagonal pass up to Yoki Haru. Yoki Haru is going to quickly move this to Middlestat at the bottom of the right circle. He sees that Blumel's going straight to the front of the net, and he's just going to send it in there. Blumel gets a perfect little redirect past Shesterkin. Shesterkin would play the first 45 minutes. That's not right. That's not how math works. The first 30 minutes, and then Boyko would take over for the last half of the game. But that is a 1-0 start. Awesome. As long as we don't do the same thing that we always do, which we did. 45 seconds-ish later, I think it was 46 seconds exactly, after the Bruins take the lead, Kuznetsov turns it over on the blue line. As he tries to exit our zone, he's holding the puck, he gets blown up. Laba collects it, feeds it to Berard in the slot. Kuznetsov's chasing back, what is his name here? I know this. I took a note about it. Aspinall. Aspinall is getting chased by Kuznetsov down that left side. Soderstrom stood in front of Berard to try to prevent the easy slot shot. Berard makes an excellent pass to the side of Soderstrom, but a little ahead of Kuznetsov to get it to Aspinall, who gets the one-on-one and beats Korpisalo pretty cleanly. And that's 1-1 46 seconds later. Not a great shift by Kuznetsov. Another -1 for Soderstrom, although I can hardly put this on him. I saw a couple people saying brutal from him, but he stood in the way of the turnover, like in the slot. Like, what are you supposed to do after that? There was a multi-person break at that point. And Kuznetsov wasn't going to catch Aspinall after getting knocked to the ground anyway, but he tried, which I appreciate. Not great. Same problems that we've had, and it's kind of getting old that this team is still doing this. It's just 2 games into the preseason. I can relax about that, but I just can't believe that it's been over a year of this team doing this, just allowing a goal within a minute of scoring one. I think Ty Anderson said it was 19 times last year they did that, which doesn't feel right. Although I think I'm combining the times that they scored right after us and the times that they scored in the last 2 minutes of a period, which also happened all the time. Another thing that happened in the first period, I didn't put a timestamp on it, but Asamont chased down a puck carrier in open ice, threw him off the puck, and just turned and went the other way with it. I don't have much more to say about that play other than that's awesome. Yes, that's the kind of tenacity you want to see. and that's what we'll take. First period ends. It's 1-1. You feel way better than you did after the first period against the Capitals. There's some consistent hockey going on. There's mistakes all over the place, but it's preseason. You expect that. There's only a few NHLers out there, or sure thing NHLers out there. That's fine. You go to the second period. This was gross. 3:26 in, Beecher holds the puck too long, exiting the zone. Remember that thing I talked about earlier where maybe he's looking for something. But he gets caught up, turns the puck over. He's flat on his feet as Perreault flies back into the zone, goes right around him. Zadorov tries to get there on time. He almost does, but Perreault is just going to rip this for the left side of midway down the slot and beat Korpisalo right under the arm. 2-1. Frustrating. Bad turnover. Beecher, that's the kind of stuff he really can't afford, because if he's not being effective getting the puck out of our zone, his job becomes very much up for grabs, because that is his largest advantage, is his defensive play and his face-off wins. If he can't do those things, then he's very replaceable very quickly. So a tough play for him. 12 minutes left of the period. Huznadinov blocks a dump in and gets a breakaway down the left side, shoots it wide right. Frustrating. I'll call that frustrating. And then about 10 minutes left, Soderstrom passes off the right wall of our zone to Kostelic, who's skating through the near circle. I think people disagree with me, and I'm okay with that. Maybe we just have to have a difference on that. But I think this is more on Kostelic than it is Soderstrom. The pass isn't perfect, but it is directly at Kostelic, and I keep changing the way I'm pronouncing Kostelic. I don't even know at this point. But he kind of tips it through his own legs, and then Carrick is there to just accept that in the middle of the slot. He's going to make a move on Korpisalo, gets him on his belly, and then buries it on the low side. Again, I'm not all over Soderstrom for this one. People did make a good point that there's no reason for that not to be a tape-to-tape pass, like a cleaner pass. But Kostelic just can't turn it over like that. That was a pretty bad mishandle on it, in my opinion. Neither one of them comes out of that looking good, but not all on Soderstrom. Soderstrom is like a -5 now on the preseason through 2 games, though. It's not the start he wanted, and he's definitely not setting himself apart. So it's 3-1, and then 9:21 left. Parsonen for roughing. We're going to go to power play. 20 seconds into the power play. Blumel, his one big blemish of this game. Blemish for Blumel. He turns the puck over on the left wall. Soderstrom and Lasmelis are able to cover the 2 fast-breaking penalty killers, I thought, pretty well. But Middlestat was not able to catch up to Gavrikov coming for the third player, and they dish it back to him. He's able to rip this glove side, beats Korpisalo. It's 4-1 on a shorthanded goal. We're going into the third period. It's 4-1. And no one feels good, because it's all the same mistakes. It's not just a team being bad. They were being bad. But it's all the same stuff. An ineffective power play that's giving up shorthanded goals and shorthanded breaks. You are turning the puck over in your own zone at every instance. You're scoring a goal and giving up a goal right away. It's all the same stuff from last year. With a bunch of new players and a bunch of new coaches, it's the same identity. Of course that's concerning. But the third period starts. And there's some life. And that life is quickly killed, because 6:33 in, Zadorov is going to go for cross-checker. We're going to go to the penalty kill. And then that life is quickly brought back, because 45 seconds into the penalty kill, Fox is handling the puck in front of his own blue line. So he's in his own zone right by the blue line. And Asimont just goes, dude, you can't stand there. What do you want me to do? And he rushes over, gets on his back, gives him a little, takes the puck from him, makes a move over the sprinting other defenseman, goes right around him, then gives a little dipsy doodle to the goaltender. Boyko doesn't know what to do. He's sitting on his tummy like he's aching, and he flips it over him. And it's 4-2 on a shorthanded goal. And I'm going to be honest, and I'm guilty, and I'm sorry. This is bad faith. I went, oh, that's cute. That was really great. That was a great Asimont. I love. I've been preaching his praises since the signing. I was really excited about that. I feel really good about my Asimont takes at this point. But I wasn't like, oh, the comeback's on. Which, shame on me. Shame on me. Either way. We killed the rest of the penalty, which was huge, obviously, because you needed... This was part of the showing the life. It's like, yeah, you scored a shorthanded goal, still kill off that penalty. Show that you're serious. Show that you're trying to win this thing and make a couple big plays. And Korpisalo played a big role in finishing that off. 8:49 left. The Bruins laying a strong forecheck. Again, it was a theme of the game. I really think the forechecking is going to be a positive for this team when we can get it out of our zone, which is a different conversation. Minton comes in, lays a strong hit on Dorrington, who desperately flings the puck up the right side through like the right circle. It doesn't go to anyone he wants it to because Harris is right there to collect. He is going to just skate down a little bit, but then sees that Eyssimont is standing in front of Boyko again. Easy pass, but a good one. And Eyssimont's able to finish right over the shoulder. It's 4-3, and things are interesting because you have over 8 minutes left of the game. Holy crap, we're here. We're in this. And in fact, 4 minutes later, there's a fast break for Eyssimont and Minton. Eyssimont down the right side. He tries to feed it across to Minton, but he can't handle the pass. It's going to stay 4-3. And we get to the last minute and a half. And the Bruins are all over them. And we pull the goalie, and we don't turn the puck over right away for an easy empty netter. We continue to keep possession. A couple players keep the play alive. And eventually, with a clean enough possession, Middlestat will feed Eyssimont, who's at the net front, but just slightly off to the side. And Eysimont's just skittering it right across the crease, where Huznadinov gets just enough of it to bump it into the net, and it's 4-4 with a minute left on the clock. Now, I know what you were thinking. Can they kill this last minute to get to overtime? Can they even get there? Well, they do. And in fact, they draw a power play. 14.2 seconds left. Carrick is going to go for cross-checking. We're going to the power play. We're going to go into overtime with that power play. We're not going to do anything with it. But with about a minute or so left of overtime, Huznadinov hits Zadorov. I was so frustrated because he misses the first opportunity to hit Zadorov on the breakaway, but he gets the second. Zadorov has an inside route to the goalie, but ends up pulling up because the defenseman's catching him. He shrugs off that contact, spins, and just flings this high bar. And that's game. 5-4, overtime dub. And it's massive. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Huznadinov had a great game because he really didn't. Or that Zadorov had a great game because he really didn't. But clutch players make clutch plays. Maybe that's where we go with this. There's some positivity there. And if we can get Zadorov confident, because I'm pretty sure that played a huge role in how effective he was down the stretch last year, even on a losing team, that's what we need. We can't. The first 5 periods of what Zadorov was through the preseason is simply not good enough. It's simply not. And he knows that. Everyone, you can watch him play, and you can come to that conclusion really easily. He has to be better, because he's going to be a vocal part of this leadership team going forward. He's got to have a more effective game. So let's talk about this. I'm going to go over let's do the defensemen and the goaltenders first really quickly because it's very simple. Zadorov did look more engaged. Still not good, but more engaged. He deserves the same asterisks I give the other vets. He knows his spot is secure. He's ramping up to the season. Probably not going all out, yada, yada, yada. He deserves that asterisk like I would give to McAvoy or Hampus or anyone else. I need to be fair about that. So I'm not overly critical of Zadorov yet. It's still not a great game. It's still not a great display of his talents. It's not the end of the world, though. Jokiharju, on the other hand, was terrible. I mean awful again. He did make a couple plays in the offensive zone. He had that assist. He can move the puck in the offensive zone. Defensively, though, oh my good golly gosh. The guy is so bad defensively. It's kind of insane. He just gives possession back. He has the puck, ending a possession in the defensive zone, in the offensive zone for the opponent, and he just either holds it until someone pins him and he gives it back, or turns it over. His breakout passes are non-existent right now. He has been so abhorrent in the defensive zone. It's driving me insane. All those asterisks, for sure, put them on him too. More importantly, the new system, looking for that pass to make. Is he expecting something different than that? I'm not going to crush this guy for preseason games, but he looks awful. I'm going to hold out hope he's going to look great when the season starts. That's how this works. Is it copium? I don't care. Optimism. But I'm not going to pretend he wasn't bad. He was bad. Again. There's nothing, objectively he was bad. This isn't an opinion piece. All right, anyway, other defensemen that I want to talk about. Soderstrom was also pretty brutal, and he's now like something like -5 or -6 through 2 games. It's not a good showing, and I know that I'm very critical of the plus-minus stat, but it's mostly accurate. Like, sometimes you watch the guy and you're like, no, that's a pretty good indicator of his game, actually. He's not making effective defensive plays. He's not making effective offensive plays. He had some highs in this game, but his lows were brutal. And again, I'm not blaming him for the Carrick goal from the slot exactly, but I don't need to. There's enough there to get upset about. He's not winning board battles. His breakout passes are bad. He's not seeing the ice well. And you can do all the asterisks like everybody else, but he is fighting for the 7th defenseman spot. I know, that's not like a luxurious spot, but he has 2 other players who are fighting for that spot. And Harris, who I want to talk about now, I thought was really good. It was pretty good. He was engaged offensively and made a couple nice plays, held his own defensively. He wasn't perfect, got burnt a couple times. Players got behind him a couple times. But for the most part, he was one of our better defensemen out there. He was quietly effective and stepped into a couple bombs trying to get the puck to the net. I thought Harris was solid, and I'm feeling more comfortable with him. And remember, 2 years ago, this guy's young, but 2 years ago, I just smoked him. We played him, he was in Montreal, and we just picked on him the whole game. Like, our team was just crushing his side. I think he looks better, for sure, than that display. And I feel rather comfortable with Harris right now. I'm hoping to see him a couple more times in the preseason and see if he can make a push to... I mean, if he looks good enough, maybe a push for Yogi Haru's spot. We'll see. Nothing really to say about Callahan or Asparat. I thought that they had some quietly good defensive moments, but they don't bring much up ice. There just wasn't enough to compliment or really disparage them for. And they're also not likely to make a push for the team in my head. So there's just not a lot of reason to focus on them. Goaltending, Korpisalo, absolute roller coaster. He made some crazy high danger saves. Really, really good ones, too. He was also super inconsistent. His rebound control was awful for large stretches of the game. But he made the big saves when he had to. It's not a stellar performance from him, but, I mean, just like everyone else ramping up to this season, I don't think this put him... If both of them were starting at 0, DiPietro and him, after DiPietro's performance and now his performance, I don't think they separated themselves all that much from each other. Korpisalo has the lead, of course, right now, being the vet and everything, but I don't think he's like wildly better than DiPietro at the moment. We'll have to see more as preseason continues. Now the forwards. The forwards are the more complicated part, and certainly the more wordy part. I'm going to break this up into tiers. And these are my tiers. Let me know what tiers you think that they're in. But for all 12 of the forwards, everyone's going to get a tier. Tier 1. Players who are separating themselves from the pack in my eyes to the point where they're really locking in their positions on the starting night roster. That's Blumel and that's Asamont. Asamont, obviously, massive game, 2 goals, 1 assist. But Blumel, we'll kind of start with here. Blumel is a dog on meat, right? He's strong forechecker, straightforward offensive instincts. He's not like an overly clever offensive guy, but he knows what he wants to do and he's effective in doing it. He gets dirty to make plays. It's not a guy I worry about what I'm getting from him. I am impressed. I think he's really solidifying himself as leading that group of guys hoping to work their way into the middle bottom 6, right? Asamont is a dog on meat if the dog hadn't eaten in 2 weeks and the meat was Japanese Wagyu. That metaphor kind of bums me out, actually, because the dog was starving for 2 weeks. In this metaphor, let's pretend a dog after that 2 weeks gets steak 3 times a day for the rest of his life. He lives a wonderful, healthy life. We love dogs on this channel, and now I feel bad. But either way, it's a good metaphor. I lost myself there. Asamont was incredible. Fast forechecker, but also a physical one. Isn't afraid to attack an open ice and doesn't typically get beat wide on it. He chooses his moments well. You talk about, this is a Zadorov thing, actually, a Zadorov comparison. Zadorov will attack someone on open ice, but too often allows them to actually go around him because of it. Asamont, I thought, in this performance particularly, would attack someone on open ice, but chose the moments really well, chose his angles really well, trying to work with the blind side so they don't react right away, and he's able to get on them. and he's great at stripping the puck away legally. Everything about Eyssimont game was a prototypical third or fourth liner who's going to forecheck really hard, who has an eye for the net, who has good hands and a good shot. Everything to like about his performance, especially that speed he uses to get there. He looks like a pain in the ass to play against. That is exactly the kind of player that we need. That's what Sweeney thought he was getting last year when he talked about all this. We want to build speed. We want to build forechecking prowess and physicality. Eyssimont was a prototypical guy for this. And I'm so glad we signed him because I think he fits that role super well. He is as close as a lock to making that bottom six in my mind as anyone else on this team. And I know it's only 2 games in the preseason, but I say that after having watched this guy for years. I've always been an Eyssimont guy. I think there's tape going back a couple years, me talking about him at this point. That's your tier 1. Just those 2 guys, Blumel and Eyssimont. Tier 2 has a handful. It's Mittelstadt, it's Loschmelis, it's Patra, it's Minton, it's Liesel. Similar performances for Patra and Liesel. Each had some really strong shifts that they can kind of build on. Quick to the pucks, good vision in transition, and offensively, they're both too easy to knock off the puck still, and holding the puck too long, putting themselves in poor positions. Maybe not winning enough board battles or winning an amount that you're happy with. But overall, this is a positive step. I think they showed a strong game and have good things to take out of this that the coaching staff will go, yes, okay, good, build your way there. Excellent. Also part of this group, as I mentioned, Minton and Loschmelis, also very similar in the way they approached the game today. They were steady, strong defensively, smart decision-making in both ends of the ice. They were not flashy by any means, but really consistent. They displayed the kind of performance that a coaching staff gets very comfortable with, and they think to themselves, I can put this guy out there at any sort of moment in the game and feel comfortable with it. I would say that between the two, Loschmelis and Minton, Loschmelis was the one who displayed just that crazy creativity he's got when he's quick on the puck. He's really quick to move the puck off of his stick, and he's really effective at it. He finds a way to get the puck to his teammates really well. I think we're a couple of years away from him being like a point getter in the NHL, but with every level he gets to, he becomes more impressive. He could be the extremely rare type of player that ends up being better in the NHL than they were in college. I am very critical of those takes. I have said it many times on the Short Shift podcast that nobody walks out of college and all of a sudden they're a 100-point player in the NHL. I don't think Loschmelis is going to be a 100-point player in the NHL. But once in a while, a guy does come out of college and he adapts to the league and he's a consistent 60, 70-point guy. I think that's on the table for Loschmelis if he hits his absolute ceiling. Am I biased and a little overexcited by the guy? Yes, absolutely, I understand that. But he's creative. He finds his teammates well. He has to work on the physicality side of things, but there is a lot to like about his game. And he's just so steady. He's a sturdy defender. He's a smart defender. It's just a lot to like. Oh, and worth mentioning that Liesel, again, great back checking when he wanted to get engaged. I wish it was more common for him, but when he decides he's going to go for a steal, he's usually pretty effective at it. I mentioned Mittelstadt for this grouping because he was fine. I don't think he stood out a ton. He made the simple plays well. Made a couple boneheaded offensive zone turnovers, which I didn't love. But for the most part, it was a relatively positive experience for him as well. Tier 3, not to be overly negative, was Steves and Kostelic. They were fine. I just felt like Kostelic didn't show what we know him to be. He wasn't his usual bucket emptying self with his brutal style of hockey. It just wasn't on display like he typically puts it out there as. I'm not worried about him. I know what he is. Steves, the problem here, the reason he's in tier 3 is he just didn't separate himself. He made a couple good plays here or there, but he didn't stand out often. And in a battle for a position like this, you have to have a couple moments where you're really standing out. I just don't think he did it in a positive or negative way. It feels like Blumel is clearly the better of the two, and I don't know how many other people Steves is going to beat out as far as where his ceiling could be versus theirs for the opening night roster. We still got a lot of camp to go, but he hasn't separated himself yet. And then the last tier, which one of these names is going to surprise you, I think. So there's Beecher, who I've actually kind of already explained earlier in the video. Farinacci, who just simply made more mistakes than positive plays, or really just disappeared for a lot of the game too. He, again, just didn't stand out, but also made a handful of plays that made you go, oh, dude, what are you doing? So that puts him in tier 4. Who's Nadinov, who had the game-tying goal with a minute left, who had an assist on the game-winning goal in overtime? Not a good performance, which is crazy to say, but he was consistently moved off the puck way too easily. He was holding the puck way too long at times. He couldn't connect on the plays that he was trying to make. You could kind of see where he was going with this, but just not effective in actually making the play. Look, he's an undersized guy who has some offensive gifts, has some scoring talent, but he's not getting to his spot, and he's in a dogfight for some of these positions. It's a tough road for Nadinov right now. He's really going to have to show something more in these next couple of games. And again, it's maybe the coaching staff goes, no. Like, the end of the game, you really turned it on. We'd love his performance there. Maybe. But objectively, as the whole of the game, I left the game kind of disappointed in Nadinov. He's a guy I'm really rooting for, but there just hasn't been enough there. None of these performances were devastating enough to, as far as the forwards go, to elicit some response that they're screwed and they can't make it out of camp or whatever. But I thought the guys in tier 4 did themselves a disservice in the game for the most part. Tier 3 was fine, and then the top 2 tiers are ones that are improving their chances and improving their opportunities. So once again, let me know down below what you think, and if you think I was wrong about things. I have been reading all of them. I haven't been replying to everything. As you can imagine, I'm actually getting a lot of messages right now because we're back and a lot of people are excited and everything. So I'm trying to answer where I can. But I really appreciate all of you putting down below what your thoughts are and your disagreements and what you saw and what you enjoyed, because it helps me kind of go, oh, let me look for that next game. I feel like this was a really good start of people having some disagreements, but being very respectful about it. As the season progresses, usually there's a few people that like to jump in and just be really, really mean about it. And that's okay. Everyone gets worked up about things. It's just the internet. No reason to take it seriously. But I have really enjoyed reading your opinions, and please put more below. Yeah, I think that's it. Go Bees. Go Bees!